Welcome back to There Is No America Without Erica, and we all need a little Erica in our life. So there is something happening right now that could affect millions of Americans who have been told for decades that once you become a prohibited person, your Second Amendment rights are basically gone forever. And this isn't coming from a gun rights organization. This isn't somebody filing a lawsuit and hoping they win 5 years from now. This is coming directly from the United States Department of Justice. The DOJ just finalized its new federal firearm rights restoration program under 18 U.S.C. 925C. And the most important part of the entire story is this. They're going to look at the person. Not simply look at one line on your criminal record and automatically say no. So today we're going to go through who this potentially applies to, when people can actually start applying, what can get you denied, and why this is a pretty massive change from how things have worked for the last 3 decades. But first, if you want to support what we're doing here, check out our merch link down below. YouTube isn't exactly known for loving gun channels, so every shirt, hoodie, or whatever else you pick up directly helps us keep making these videos. Now let's get into this. For more than 30 years, there has technically been a federal law allowing prohibited people to ask for their firearm rights back. It's 18 U.S.C. 925C. The problem, for most people, the process effectively didn't exist. Congress stopped funding ATF to process most of these applications back in the 1990s. So you had this bizarre situation where federal law basically said, yes, you can apply to have your rights restored. And then the federal government said, cool, we're not processing your application. That is finally changing. On August 17th, the Department of Justice released the final rule establishing a functioning process again. And Attorney General Todd said something that I really want you to hear. He said, the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. Think about where that's coming from. That's not somebody from GOA. That's not FPC. That's not some Second Amendment YouTuber. That's the Attorney General of the United States. And DOJ's position is that the federal government should not permanently deprive someone of a constitutional right without considering whether that person actually possess a danger to public safety. That's a pretty significant change in philosophy. The DOJ also released a video message from United States Pardon Attorney Ed Martin explaining the new federal firearms rights restoration program. And DOJ says this could potentially create a pathway for some of the roughly 30 million Americans who have lost their Second Amendment rights. That's a fucking huge number. Nothing about this automatically restores anybody's rights. If you're currently prohibited, you're still prohibited unless and until your rights are actually restored. This is an application process, and DOJ has already given us the rollout schedule. The clock starts when the final rule is officially published. 30 days after publication, DOJ begins inventing selected candidates to apply. Then at 75 days, applications open to the general public, but initially only the first 5,000 applications can apply. At 120 days, another 500 applicants can apply, and that's also when the application fee begins. DOJ currently lists that fee at $30. So this isn't something theoretically happening years from now. The mechanicry is being put together right now. And here's where this gets really interesting. A lot of people hear felon in possession and assume every felony is treated exactly the same forever. That's not how this new system is structured. DOJ is going to consider the circumstances that originally caused you to become prohibited. They're going to look at your record, your reputation, your conduct since the offense, and ultimately they're asking whether you're likely to act in a manner dangerous to public safety and whether restoring your rights would be contrary to the public interest. In other words, who are you today? Now, there absolutely are presumptions in this rule, and that's an important distinction. For example, DOJ says violent felons are presumptively disqualified absent extraordinary circumstances. There are also presumptions involving things like registered sex offenders, which they should just get their fucking dick cut off and die anyways, certain domestic violence offense, people currently engaged in unlawful conduct, and several other categories. Some presumptions are effectively permanent unless you can overcome them. Others expire after a specified amount of time, but here's what I don't want people getting confused about. A presumption is not necessarily an absolute statutory prohibition from ever applying, or a guaranteed denial. The final rule specifically allows DOJ to consider the individual's facts and circumstances. They can even look beyond the title of an offense and examine the actual underlying conduct. And that works both ways. Imagine two people whose criminal records technically put them in similar categories. Person number 1 committed offense 20 years ago. He completed his sentence, completed probation, never committed another crime, got married, raised a family, bought a house, held down a job, and has spent the last 2 decades demonstrating that he's not dangerous. Person number 2 has the same old conviction, but has spent the last 20 years getting arrested, violating supervision, abusing drugs, threatening people, and generally demonstrating that he's still dangerous. Those are not the same person. And under an individualized system, they shouldn't necessarily receive the same answer just because the government can put the same label next to both of their names. That's the fundamental change here. And there's another really important part. You're going to have to prove your case. This isn't DOJ digging through your history looking for reasons to give you your guns back. The burden is on the applicant. You're going to need documentation, you're going to need character references, DOJ is going to examine your history, and you're going to have to demonstrate that the circumstances surrounding your prohibition combined with everything you've done since show that you're not likely to be dangerous. So if you're watching this and thinking this might apply to you someday, start thinking about what your life actually looks like on paper. Have you stayed out of trouble? Do you have stable employment, a family, a home, people in your community willing to put their names on a paper and say, I know this person, I trust this person isn't dangerous? Because those things can actually matter now. There's also another limitation people need to understand. This restores federal firearm rights. It does not automatically wipe away independent state prohibition. If your state separately says you're prohibited from possessing firearms, getting federal relief doesn't magically erase state law. And in some circumstances, you have an available state restoration process. DOJ's rule can require you to pursue that avenue first. So everybody's situation is going to be different, but zoom out for a second. For decades, we've operated under a system where millions of Americans effectively had no functioning federal mechanism to even ask, I've served my sentence, I've changed my life, can I have my constitutional rights back? Now they do, and there's an even larger Second Amendment conversation happening around this. After Bruin, the government increasingly has to defend firearm restrictions through the Second Amendment's historical tradition. That doesn't mean every prohibited person automatically wins a constitutional challenge tomorrow. It doesn't mean every provision of 922G suddenly disappears, but it does mean we're having a much more serious conversation about something that should have been discussed a long time ago. Should someone who committed a crime decades ago completely serve their sentence and has demonstrated for years that they aren't dangerous automatically lose a constitutional right for the rest of their life? I don't think so. Now, DOJ itself is now saying the federal government shouldn't permanently deprive Americans of their Second Amendment rights without regard to whether they pose a danger to public safety. Those are their words. That's why I think this is bigger than simply creating another government application. It's a change in how the federal government is talking about prohibited people, not you committed X offense, therefore you're permanently dangerous. But what happened? How long ago did it happen? What have you done since? Are you actually dangerous today? There are still presumptions. There are still people who are going to get denied. There are still going to be difficult cases, and I'm sure we're going to learn a whole lot more once actual applications start going through the system, and I'm quite curious of it. But for millions of Americans who previously had basically nowhere to go, there's finally a door. And for the first time in more than 3 decades, the federal government is actually opening it. Now, if you want to support what we're doing here, check out the merch link below. Every purchase directly helps keep continuing making videos and digging into stories like this. And definitely subscribe because this story isn't finished. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.